the next 1 hour. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says 90% of a deal for securing Gaza ceasefire is ready, puts onus on Israel and Hamas to iron out differences on the remaining issues. Hunter Biden makes last-minute guilty plea to avoid tax trial months after his gun conviction. U.S. President Joe Biden avoids any remarks. In Georgia, school shooting update. Father of the 14-year-old suspect is charged with 4 counts of felony murder. U.S. President Joe Biden calls for a ban on assault weapons. U.S. bolsters support against gang violence in Haiti, announces humanitarian aid, urges Haiti to organize elections next year. In sports, Cristiano Ronaldo becomes the first man to secure 900 career goals, reaches the milestone in Portugal's UEFA Nations League match against Croatia. EU Climate Monitor concludes that the 2024 summer saw the highest global temperatures ever recorded. World experienced the hottest June and August ever, making it the hottest year yet. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken on Thursday urged both Israel and Hamas to finalize a Gaza truce, standing by U.S. assessment that 90% of a deal was ready. At a press briefing in Haiti, Blinken said that the United States would be offering further ideas in the coming days through mediators, that is Egypt and Qatar, in the hopes of sealing the agreement. However, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, in an interview with Fox News on Thursday, denied a U.S. official's assessment that 90% of the deal was ready, saying it's not close.
At this point, it seems to me that it's really incumbent on both parties to get to yes on these remaining issues.
Protesters in Tel Aviv gathered for a 5th consecutive night on Thursday, demanding an immediate hostage deal. Protesters set off flares on a road they blocked in Tel Aviv, calling on Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu to do more to bring home the remaining hostages in Gaza. Thousands of demonstrators have taken to the streets since Sunday after the bodies of 6 hostages were recovered from a tunnel in Gaza, where they were apparently killed shortly before its troops reached them. Hunter Biden, son of U.S. President Joe Biden, pleaded guilty to federal tax charges in a surprising move before the U.S. presidential election. Hunter Biden has pleaded guilty to all the 9 charges in his federal tax evasion case, catching federal prosecutors off guard as they prepare to begin his trial on Thursday. Hunter Biden had previously denied allegations that he intentionally avoided paying $1.4 million in income tax from June 2016 to 19. Judge Mark Scarsy said that in pleading guilty, Biden faced a maximum penalty of 15 years in prison and fines ranging from $500,000 to $1 million. He is due to be sentenced on 16th of December. U.S. President Joe Biden made no public statements after his son Hunter pleaded guilty to federal tax charges. President Biden has previously said that he would not use his executive power to pardon his son. Georgia state officials have arrested the father of Appalachian High School shooting suspect in connection with Wednesday's shooting that left 4 people dead. Suspect's father was charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children. The suspect has been charged with 4 counts of felony murder and would be tried as an adult, officials said. Both had been questioned by local officials last year in connection with an online threat to commit a school shooting, but there is no probable cause for their arrest. Investigators are yet to comment on what may have motivated the first U.S. campus mass shooting since the start of the school year. U.S. President Joe Biden expressed grief over the school shooting. Biden commended the swift action of school personnel and first responders and called for urgent legislative action, including a ban on assault weapons and universal background checks.
Got to hold parents accountable if they let their child have access to these guns. Let's enact universal background checks, and then immunity for gun manufacturers. And I realize I'm in a rural area like the rural parts of my state where guns, we all have them. And it's not popular to talk about it, but the truth is there's a difference between rational and irrational. Imagine, the only outfit in the world that we can't sue and by law, passed by law, are gun manufacturers.
As November 5th is coming close, campaign for U.S. elections is witnessing series of commitments and promises by the candidates. Republican U.S. presidential candidate Donald Trump vows to turn the United States into the cryptocurrency capital of the world. His Democratic rival promised to end gun violence. Trump on Thursday was speaking in Economic Club of New York while unveiling his economic vision for post-2024 U.S. He tried to assure new age investors. He vowed to make USA the capital of crypto and Bitcoin trade. He said he will create an efficiency commission tasked with conducting a complete financial and performance audit of the entire federal government.
And instead of attacking industries of the future, we will embrace them, including making America the world capital for crypto and Bitcoin. I will create a government efficiency commission tasked with conducting a complete financial and performance audit of the entire federal government and making recommendations.
A day earlier, U.S. Democratic presidential candidate Kamala Harris responded to a Wednesday morning shooting in Appalachian High School in Winder by saying that it is time to end this epidemic of gun violence while she was campaigning in Northampton and Maryland. She promised end of gun violence once she becomes the president.
And it's just outrageous that every day in our country, in the United States of America, that parents have to send their children to school worried about whether or not their child will come home alive. It's senseless. It is, we've got to stop it. And we have to end this epidemic of gun violence in our country once and for all. It doesn't have to be this way. It doesn't have to be this way.
Amidst international interest growing regarding U.S. presidential elections, a surprise support for Kamala Harris came from a controversial quarter, and Donald Trump is confused whether it is good for him. Speaking in Vladivostok Eastern Economic Forum, it was none other than the Russian President Vladimir Putin who made an open support to Kamala Harris by saying that Trump had put most of the sanctions on Russia when he was the president of the U.S. He asked his supporters in the U.S. to vote for Harris. Putin also praised body language of Kamala Harris, saying that she has an infectious laugh.
As for the favorites, it is not for us to determine that. It is, after all, the choice of the American people. I have already said the favorite, if I may say so, was the acting president, Mr. Biden. But he has withdrawn from the race, but he recommended that all his supporters back Mrs. Harris. So we will do the same. We will support her. She has such an expressive and infectious laugh. It shows she's doing well. I mean, Trump, he's imposed more restrictions and sanctions on Russia than any president has ever imposed before.
However, it did not amuse the Republican candidate and Putin's former counterpart in the U.S., Donald Trump, sounded a bit disappointed at the time when every vote counts in America for the presidential neck-to-neck fight. Trump said that he was surprised and he did not know how to react.
Putin came out today, he endorsed Kamala, and I didn't know, was I supposed to call him up and say, thank you very much, I appreciate it. But he endorsed Kamala. I have a feeling, I don't know. I don't know exactly what to say about that. I don't know if I'm insulted or he did me a favor.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said on a visit to Haiti on Thursday that he hoped to see an electoral council established soon to organize elections in the country next year. After a meeting with Transitional Presidential Council Coordinator Edgar Leblansfeld. Blinken said that they discussed the Electoral Council. Blinken's visit comes as Haiti continues to battle violent gangs that have taken over much of the capital and started moving into nearby regions.
Critical next step that we spoke about is setting up a electoral council, and the President gave me an update on the important work that's being done there, and we hope to see that stood up soon because that's a critical next step in moving forward and organizing elections for next year.
Meanwhile, Haiti has expanded its state of emergency to cover the entire nation's territory the day before U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met with Haitian authorities in the island. Prime Minister Gary Conille on Wednesday expanded a state of emergency to cover the entire nation. Kenyan police officers who are part of the UN-backed security mission began arriving in Haiti in June. The state of emergency was repeatedly renewed and other departments were later added. The U.S. is the largest funder of a UN-backed security mission that Henry requested in 2022 to help fight the gangs and reclaim territory. You're watching DD India News Hour. We're headed for a short break, but after the break, Poland tracks back from claims that a drone likely breached its airspace during a Russian attack on Ukraine in August. French President Emmanuel Macron names Michel as his new Prime Minister. Democratic Republic of Congo receives the first shipment of Mpox vaccines to combat the outbreak.
Come share in the richness of Maharashtra as one family, united by the collective vision of building a better tomorrow.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour, and let's get to updates from Russia-Ukraine conflict now. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky demanded quick results from his new top team after the biggest government reshuffle since 2022. Zelensky replaced a string of ministers in a shakeup that sources suggested was a bid for his office to exert more control over a host of issues related to the war, with Ukraine facing major challenges on the battlefield in the east. In his nightly video address, Zelensky said that he wanted the government to be more active in dealing with Ukraine's Western allies and investors and in helping troops at the front. He called on his new team to deliver more investment into Ukraine's arms sector, advance negotiations on Ukraine's EU membership bid, work to secure Ukraine's financial stability, and deliver more support for the front line. Poland has backed away from the claims that a drone likely breached its airspace during a Russian attack on Ukraine in August. After 10 days of intense analysis and a fruitless search, military officials now say they believe no such intrusion took place on August 26. The initial radar detection of a possible drone had sparked alarm in the NATO member country, raising concerns over airspace security. General Michel, head of the Polish Army's Operational Command, stated that it is now highly probable that no violation occurred. However, he warned that the risk of future airspace breaches remains high as Russian attacks on Ukraine continue. Poland remains vigilant amid growing fears of spillover from the ongoing conflict. The Biden administration is in urgent talks with Congress to use up to $6 billion in military aid for Ukraine before it expires on September 30th. The funds are part of a $61 billion package passed in April under the Presidential Drawdown Authority, that is PDA, which in fact allows emergency transfers of U.S. defense supplies. However, of the $7.8 billion allocated, only a fraction has been used, leaving $6 billion at risk. With the fiscal year ending soon, officials are pushing to extend the PDA through a continuing resolution, a critical spending bill needed to prevent a government shutdown. Both Democratic and Republican lawmakers who have backed $175 billion in Ukraine aid since 2022 are emphasizing on the need for continued support as the deadline looms. The British government said on Friday that it would provide Ukraine with 650 lightweight multi-role missiles worth £162 million to help protect the country from Russian drones and bombing. The Ministry of Defense said, in keeping with the new government's commitment to speed deliveries of aid to Ukraine, the first batch of missiles announced on Friday were expected to arrive by the end of the year. The new supply of missiles was announced as British Defence Minister John Healey attended the Ukraine Defence Contact Group, an ad hoc coalition of some 50 nations, at a U.S. airbase in Germany. The death toll from a Russian missile strike on a military institute in the east-central Ukrainian town of Poltava on Tuesday rose to 55 as the rescue operation was completed. The Ukrainian city was hit by 2 ballistic missiles on Tuesday. The deadliest single attack of this year wounded 328 others. Regional Governor Philip Ronin said that 27 people were in intensive care. The rescue operation continued for 3 days but had to be stopped due to new air raid alerts. Experts were now working to identify the remains of the bodies. Russia's defense ministry said the strike targeted soldiers and foreign instructors. Moscow's troops stepped up missile strikes on Ukraine in recent weeks, attacking energy infrastructure and civilian facilities. In a move ending weeks of political uncertainty, French President Emmanuel Macron named Michel, a veteran politician and former EU Brexit negotiator, as his new prime minister on Thursday. Barnier brings a wealth of experience, having led EU negotiations with the UK from 2016 to 2021 and previously holding various positions in French governments and the European Commission. Speaking in the courtyard of Matignon Prime Minister's residence, Barnier said that his tenure will be about addressing as much as we can the challenges, the anger, the suffering, the feeling of abandonment, of injustice running through many of our cities, suburbs and rural areas. At 73, Barnier is the oldest prime minister in France's modern political history, taking over from Gabriel Attal, who was the youngest. Barnier said that he would listen to all political groups, citing healthcare, security and jobs, as well as reducing the country's excessive debt as priorities. Some French politicians called the move as unacceptable, autocratic and a denial of democracy, whereas on the far right, National Rally leaders Marine Le Pen and Jordan Bardella remained cautious, not outrightly announcing their rejection of Barnier, but asking for him to respect the 11 million French people who voted for their party. The discreet conservative politician will quickly face a baptism of fire as time is running out to prepare France's 2025 budget, which could trigger a vote of no confidence if parties in the bitterly divided parliament are not satisfied. Some people in Paris on Thursday said that they were surprised with President Emmanuel Macron's nomination of Michel Barnier as France's new prime minister. The discreet conservative politician will quickly face a baptism of fire as time is running out to prepare France's 2025 budget, which could trigger a vote of no confidence if parties in the bitterly divided parliament are not satisfied. The left-wing alliance that won June's election accused Macron of ignoring the result by picking a conservative. Telegram founder and chief executive Pavel Durov hit out at France for arresting and charging him last month over the publication of extremist and illegal content on the popular messaging app. In a post on Telegram, Durov said that it was surprising that he was being held responsible for other people's content. He said that using laws from the pre-smartphone era to charge a CEO with crimes committed by third parties on the platform he manages is a misguided approach. He denied accusations from France that Paris has not received responses from Telegram to its requests. Durov was charged on several counts of failing to curb extremist and illegal content on Telegram. He was subsequently granted conditional release on a bail of €5 million. Britain's Prime Minister Keir Starmer met German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier in Berlin ahead of talks with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz. Starmer will discuss a landmark economic and defense accord, hoping to use the visit to reset relations with the rest of Europe. Also visiting France on the trip, Starmer said that he wants Britain to move beyond the previous Conservative government's fractious relations with European allies. Britain and Germany are looking for ways to increase defense cooperation ahead of the possibility that the United States scales back military support for Ukraine. The Democratic Republic of Congo received its first shipment of Mpox vaccines to combat the outbreak that has affected the country, that prompted the WHO to declare a global health emergency last month. With a population of around 100 million, Congo is currently at the center of the outbreak, and health officials are counting on the vaccines to help bring it under control. Mpox has been reported in at least 13 African countries. This vaccine is currently the only one approved for use in Europe and the United States and is only available for adults. However, the company is conducting trials to explore its potential use in children over the age of 12. The United States has secured the release of 135 political prisoners in Nicaragua on humanitarian grounds. The White House said on Thursday that they will go to Guatemala before seeking to lawfully move to the U.S. or other nations. The U.S. and Guatemala said in a joint statement that the release follows months of negotiations between the U.S. and Nicaragua. Those freed will stay in Guatemala, where they will have the opportunity to lawfully request to go to another country. Last year, more than 200 Nicaraguan political prisoners were freed and flown to the U.S. The United States has charged 5 Russian intelligence officials and a Russian civilian with conspiring to launch cyber attacks against Ukraine and its allies. In a revised indictment unsealed on Thursday, the Justice Department said a cyber unit of Russia's military intelligence agency conducted large-scale cyber operations starting as far back as 2020. The original indictment, filed in June in the U.S. District Court for District of Maryland, only named a single defendant. It accused him of conspiring with Russia's military intelligence agency to launch cyber attacks against computer systems in Ukraine and other countries, including a computer network maintained by an unnamed U.S. agency in Maryland. In Mexico, judiciary workers once again rallied on Thursday against the government's plans to reform the judiciary that would involve electing justices of the federal system by popular vote. Mexico's lower house of Congress approved an overhaul of the country's judiciary early on Wednesday that would usher in a new era of elections for all the judges. The overwhelming vote of approval by lawmakers paves the way for the constitutional reform to go to the Senate, where debate is expected to begin next Wednesday. The overhaul is expected to be enacted later in September, during the final month of outgoing President Andrés Manuel López Obrador's term in office. Venezuela's Attorney General Tariq William Saab on Thursday said that the arrest warrant for the opposition leader Edmundo González remains valid. González's lawyer, Jose Vincent Haro met with Saab on to hand an affidavit outlining why he and Gonzalez believe the opposition leader violated no laws and why the erstwhile candidate did not attend the summons to testify about the opposition's vote tally website. Haro assured Saab's comments showed that Gonzalez does not have any constitutional guarantees. Venezuelan law does not allow allow those over 70 to serve sentences in jails, instead requiring house arrest. A fugitive former mayor accused of ties to Chinese criminal syndicates and money laundering to the tune of more than $1.8 billion arrived in Manila on Friday after being caught by authorities and deported from Indonesia. During a press conference upon her arrival, Alice Go said that she has received death threats and is asking for help from authorities. Philippine ministers have urged her to disclose the names of those involved to aid law enforcement in protecting her. Removed from office as mayor of Bambun town in the province of Tarlac, Go fled the country in July, traveling on her Philippine passport to neighboring Malaysia and Singapore before heading to Indonesia in August. Go, also known as Chinese national Go Huaping, is wanted by the Philippine Senate for refusing to appear before a congressional investigation into alleged criminal ties. The 2024 northern summer saw the highest global temperatures ever recorded, beating last year's record and making this year likely Earth's hottest ever. The data from the Copernicus Climate Change Service followed a season of heat waves around the world, and the scientists said that they were intensified by the human-driven climate change. The June and August global temperatures broke through the level of 1.5 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial average, a key threshold for limiting the vast effects of climate change. Human-caused greenhouse gas emissions are warming the planet, raising the likelihood and intensity of climate disasters such as droughts, fires, and floods. Brigades fought flames in northern Peru as the fire hotspots spread around the country, stoked by strong winds. In the Ancash region, brigade members struggled to combat a wildfire that had consumed over 40 hectares of a pine forest. The civil defense officials said that there were 21 wildfires around Peru. Many of them were caused by human action. Fires are partly caused by the slash and burn methods to clear land for farming purposes, worsened by the drought. An avalanche struck Mount Lopez in Argentina, claiming the life of a foreign tourist and prompting a swift response from local rescue teams. The incident occurred as a group of hikers was traversing the popular mountain near Bariloche, a well-known destination for outdoor enthusiasts. The avalanche swept down suddenly, catching the group off guard. The rescue operations were launched immediately, with teams battling harsh weather conditions and treacherous terrain to reach the site. Iraqi date farmers are struggling to preserve one of the country's most prized natural treasures, the date palm. Once known as the country of 30 million palm trees, Iraq's ancient date-growing culture had already suffered from upheaval, especially during the 1980-88 war with Iran, before climate change became a major threat. The struggle to revive Iraq's date farming sector is also symbolic of a larger fight to preserve the nation's agricultural legacy, which dates back thousands of years. Despite the challenges, Iraqi farmers remain determined, hoping to protect this iconic symbol of their cultural and economic identity from the growing threat of climate change. You're watching DD India News Hour. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, Prime Minister Narendra Modi concludes his two-nation visit after concluding a series of engagements with political and business leaders in Singapore. Home Minister Amit Shah to visit Jammu and Kashmir to launch BJP's poll campaign and release the party's manifesto. Mumbaikars witnessed the first glimpse of Lal Bokcha Raja ahead of the auspicious occasion of Ganesh Chaturthi on September 7th.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. A quick relook at the top stories now. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says 90% of a deal for securing Gaza ceasefire is ready, puts onus on Israel and Hamas to iron out differences on the remaining issues. Hunter Biden makes last-minute guilty plea to avoid tax trial months after his gun conviction. U.S. President Joe Biden avoids any remarks. In Georgia's school shooting update, father of the 14-year-old suspect is charged with 4 counts of felony murder. U.S. President Joe Biden calls for a ban on assault weapons. U.S. bolsters support against gang violence in Haiti, announces humanitarian aid, urges Haiti to organize elections next year. In sports, Cristiano Ronaldo becomes the first man to score 900 career goals, reaches the milestone in Portugal's UEFA Nations League match against Croatia. EU Climate Monitor concludes that the 2024 summer saw the highest global temperatures ever recorded. World experienced the hottest June and August ever, making it the hottest year till now. Concluding his two-nation visit, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in the national capital on Thursday night. While on his visit to Singapore, Prime Minister held talks with top leadership of the country to strengthen the ties between the strategic allies. We get to a detailed report ahead.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi visiting the Parliament of Singapore with the Prime Minister of the country as part of his two-day visit to the Southeast Asian nation. The Prime Minister was given a ceremonial welcome by the government of Singapore upon his arrival at Parliament. Prime Minister Modi was accompanied by a high-level delegation including External Affairs Minister and National Security Advisor of India. Prime Minister Modi congratulated the newly elected Prime Minister of Singapore and highlighted the growing bond between the two countries. The two leaders signed 4 memorandums of understanding between the Government of India and Singapore. The MOUs signed included MOU in the field of digital technologies, MOU on semiconductor ecosystem partnership, MOU on cooperation in the field of health and medicine, MOU on educational cooperation and skills development. Prime Minister Modi, accompanied by the host Prime Minister, also later visited a semiconductor facility in Singapore and interacted with Indian interns from Odisha's World Skills Center. The students called the opportunity to meet Prime Minister Modi motivating.
Very happy and excited today because today we meet our Singapore Prime Minister and also India Prime Minister. So I got this opportunity. Thankful to be here today.
I am doing an internship in a 4 Seasons hotel like a maintenance engineer. Visiting Prime Minister is a very big things.
After visiting the semiconductor facility, Prime Minister Modi was hosted for lunch by Senior Minister and former Prime Minister of Singapore, Lee Hsien Loong. Later, Prime Minister Modi also called on President of Singapore, His Excellency Tharman Shanmugaratnam, at his official residence. Before concluding his visit to Singapore, Prime Minister Modi held a business roundtable with a wide range of business leaders in a bid to boost the business and investments in India.
With the successful conclusion of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 5th visit to Singapore, a new chapter in the friendship between the two countries has started. The kind of political will showed by the leadership of the two countries and the enthusiasm that is being seen on the ground in both India and Singapore, the relation between the two countries is most likely to reach new heights. In Singapore, with camera person SP Dubey, Akshay Dongre, DD India.
The 2024 edition of the Chief Science Advisors Roundtable is taking place at the headquarters of the United Nations Educational, Cultural and Scientific Organization in Paris. The Roundtable 2024, co-organized by India and UNESCO in Paris, follows the theme of event, which is fostering science, bridging knowledge asymmetry, and also building science advice capacity globally. Delegations of 28 countries, 6 international organizations are taking part in the roundtable meet. ZAR launched as Sherpa track during Indian G20 presidency in 2023. The meet aims to highlight the impact of science advice mechanisms in building trust in science. Also, the aim is to generate insights on building science advice capacity. The focus is also to provide a dialogue between chief scientific advisors and delegations of various countries. India's Union Home Minister Amit Shah will visit Jammu and Kashmir today ahead of the assembly elections. Shah is scheduled to launch the Bharatiya Janata Party's poll campaign and release the party's manifesto during his 2-day visit. The assembly election will be held in the region in 3 phases on September 18th, 25th and 1st of October, whereas the results will be declared on 8th of October. A team of Enforcement Directorate conducted a raid at the residence of the former principal of Kolkata's R.G. Kar Medical College and Hospital, Sandeep Ghosh, on Friday morning. Raids are also underway at the houses of Ghosh's close associates. Earlier in the week, Ghosh was arrested by the CBI in connection with alleged financial irregularities at the medical establishment during his tenure. On Tuesday, Ghosh was sent to 8 days of police custody. Heavy rainfall has caused a severe flooding in southern Indian state of Andhra Pradesh, with roads and houses submerged. The continuous rain triggered by land-based cyclone resulted in heavy precipitation over just 24 hours. The extreme weather was fueled by moisture from the Arabian Sea and heat from the eastern parts of the country. The National Disaster Response Force, along with central forces and local officials, is working to provide relief. India's Union Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan assured of safety and assistance to combat the extreme weather.
पाँच दिन से लोगों के घरों में अभी पानी हम जिस क्षेत्र में आए हुए हैं, बुढ़मेरू जो नहर थी उसके ब्रीच होने के कारण, और ऐसी बारिश कभी 50 सालों में नहीं हुई, और इसलिए केंद्र सरकार राज्य सरकार को पूरी मदद करेगी, सहयोग करेगी, और केंद्र सरकार और राज्य सरकार दोनों मिलकर जनता को इस संकट से बाहर निकालेंगे, संकट के पार ले जाएंगे.
And now we take a look at other stories making it to the headlines from across India. In light of recent wolf attacks in Uttar Pradesh's Bahraich, senior officials have intensified control and mitigation measures. Also, Chief Forest Conservator Renu Singh took stock of the wolf search operation carried out in Bahreich's Harbaksh Purva village. Sector-wise patrols are also being conducted day and night, and sector in charges have been instructed to devise strategies for rescuing the aggressive wolves. Mumbai's famous Lord Ganeshas Idol from Lal Bagh, also known as Lal Bagh Raja or King of Lal Bagh, was revealed its unique first glimpse ahead of the auspicious occasion of Ganesh Chaturthi. People from all over India will come to see the King of Lal Bagh on the first day of Ganesh Chaturthi that will be celebrated on September 7th. As devotees are excited to bring idols of Lord Ganesha home with Ganesh Chaturthi around the corner, eco-friendly Ganesh idols are being sold in Karnataka's Kalaburgi, made with mud. You're watching DD Indian News Hour. We're heading for a short break, but after the break, US stocks end lower in choppy trading on the back of key jobs data due on Friday. Indian para-athletes continue to shine at the Paralympics with 25 medals in their kitty. We'll get you designer dressed for babies dazzling the runway ahead of New York Fashion Week.
I am Gujarat. I embody our nation's history. I represent the heroes of our country. I am Gujarat. I am art. I am culture. I am the present. I am the future. I am Gujarat. I walk with changing times. I build with the creators of tomorrow. I am the growth emblem of the nation. I am home to India's glory. I am the abode of unending cultural stories. I am Gujarat. I have sown the seeds of development. I have planned the map of progress. I am Gujarat. I am the farmer. I am the industrialist. I am Gujarat. I represent the new India. I take pride in my Bharat. I am Gujarat. I represent the essence of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. I am Gujarat.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD.
Welcome back after the break. You're watching DD India News Hour. We now take a look at business updates. In the US, the benchmark S&P 500 index and the Dow Jones ended lower in chopping trading on Thursday after a short-lived boost from a string of economic reports that faded and investors eyed key jobs data due on Friday. While the Nasdaq finished slightly higher, markets were edgy ahead of the release of comprehensive non-farm payrolls data, which will likely set the stage for the Fed to begin cutting rates later this month. The S&P 500 lost 17 points to end at 5,503 points, while the Nasdaq Composite gained 43 points to stand at 17,128. The Dow Jones Industrial Average fell 219 points to end at 40,756. Governor of RBI, Shaktikant Das, reaffirmed India's robust growth trajectory, highlighting the key economic drivers gaining with massive changes taking shape in various economic sectors and markets, and the country is geared for orbital shifts. Here's a report ahead.
Reserve Bank of India Governor Shaktikant Das said on Thursday that India's growth story remains intact and the fundamental growth drivers of the economy are gaining momentum.
For the current financial year, the Reserve Bank has projected a growth rate of 7.2%. The IMF has also projected India's growth prospect. They have in fact revised their growth projection for India upwards and have now placed it at 7%. And 2 days ago, the World Bank has also upgraded India's growth forecast to 7% for the financial year 24-25.
During his inaugural address at FIBAC 2024 event organized by FICCI, he said that the two main drivers of growth, consumption and investment demand, are growing in tandem. Das also said financial literacy needs to be enhanced and the technology needs to be leveraged. The new trinity of JAM, UPI and ULI will change the landscape.
The fundamental growth drivers of the Indian economy are actually gaining momentum. They are not slowing, they are gaining momentum. This gives us the confidence to say, that Indian growth story remains intact.
Das emphasized that India's financial sector has repeatedly demonstrated its ability to overcome challenges and crises. He added that the financial sector needs to even further deepen financial inclusion, broaden access to credit and other financial products, and support overall inclusive growth.
All the banking community, both private and public sector, need to have adequate capital adequacy. I think that is the key. We need to build systems and build innovations within ourselves to ensure that we have adequate capital to meet the credit demands of future generations.
World Bank has also upgraded India's growth forecast to 7% for 2024-25.
And now turn focus to sports. Talking of sports, then we'll tell you that football superstar Cristiano Ronaldo scored the 900th goal of his illustrious career in Portugal's UEFA Nations League group stage match against Croatia on Thursday. Ronaldo secured the historic goal with a volley from 6 yards off a cross from Nuno Mendes to put Portugal 2-0 up in the 34th minute. Portugal went on to win 2-1. Ronaldo was also the first to break the 800-goal barrier, doing so in late 2021 while in his second stint with Manchester United. The five-time Ballon d'Or winner is 41 goals ahead of his nearest challenger, Lionel Messi, who is on 859. Meanwhile, Brazilian legend Pelé is third on the list with 765. And now we get you all the updates from Paris Paralympics. India's progress at the 2024 Paris Paralympics has been nothing short of historic, with the country achieving its best ever performance so far. India has secured 25 medals as of now, 5 golds, 9 silvers and 11 bronze medals, outperforming its previous record set during the Tokyo 2020 Paralympics. Up next, a detailed report.
Indian para-athletes are on a roll in the ongoing Paris Paralympics, with the country achieving its best ever performance so far, surpassing their previous best medal tally of 19 medals they won at Tokyo. The success is largely due to government support, increased funding and better facilities for athletes. 22-year-old Avni Lekhra continued her remarkable run in parachuting by winning gold in the 10-meter air rifle standing SH1 category, solidifying her status as one of India's top Paralympic athletes. While 26-year-old Sumit Antil delivered an outstanding performance, breaking all previous Paralympic records in the F64 javelin throw event, retaining his Tokyo title and securing another gold for India. 35-year-old Dharambir set an Asian record in the seated F51 club throw event, clinching gold with a throw of 34.92 meters. Shuttler Nitesh Kumar won gold in SL3 men's singles para-badminton, continuing India's dominance in this sport since it debuted in the Tokyo 2020 Paralympics. Shuttler Suhas Yatiraj, who is also an IS officer, returned with another silver from Paris. Although 84 participating para-athletes in Paris were supported by government schemes, were given foreign exposure, mainly in form of international competitions and guided by international experts. Rio 2016 and Tokyo 2020 were the games that put India more firmly on the Paralympic map. 19 athletes from 5 sports travelled to Brazil in 2016, almost double the contingent that competed in London, resulting in 4 para-athletics medals. At Tokyo 2020, India sent 54 athletes in 9 sports, a huge record in terms of participation, and they delivered unprecedented success, winning 19 medals. At the Hangzhou 2022 Asian Games, 303 athletes participated across 17 sports and brought home a record 111 medals, the most India has ever won at an international multi-sport event. These achievements and growth of Indian para-athletes shows India's rise in para-sports. Sports Desk, DD India.
Kapil Parmar has added the latest medal in India's kitty, becoming the first Indian judoka to win a Paralympics medal with a bronze in the men's 60 kg J1 category. Kapil defeated Brazil's Elton de Oliveira in the medal clash. Parmar produced a superlative performance, dominating his opponent from the start to the finish to record a 10-0 win in the bronze medal contest. Kapil hails from Shivor, a small village in Madhya Pradesh, and is the youngest of the 4 brothers and a sister. His father is a taxi driver, while his elder sister runs a primary school. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated Kapil for his bronze medal. Taking to social media platform X, he wrote, "A very memorable sporting performance and a special medal. Congratulations to Kapil Parmar as he becomes the first ever Indian to win a medal in judo at the Paralympics. Congrats to him for winning a bronze in the men's 60 kg J1 event at Paralympics. Best wishes for his endeavours ahead." All right, a quick look at the medal tally at Paris Paralympics so far now. China lead the medal tally with 74 golds, 55 silver medals and 37 bronze medals. It is followed by Great Britain with 36 gold medals, 29 silvers and 19 bronze medals, while the US is at the third position with 27 gold medals, 33 silvers and 17 bronze medals. Also, India is at the 16th position with 5 golds, 9 silvers and 11 bronze medals. In the US Open, second seed Aryna Sabalenka clinched a spot in her second straight final with a gritty 6-3, 7-6 victory over 13th seed Emma Navarro on Thursday night. The former world number 1 Sabalenka finished runners-up to Coco Gauff at last year's US Open. Meanwhile, American Navarro was contesting in her final Grand Slam semi-final and pushed the second set into a tiebreak from 5-3 down. With this win, 26-year-old Sabalenka becomes the first woman to reach back-to-back US Open finals since Serena Williams did so in 2018 and 2019. Sabalenka has reached all the 4 hardcourt Grand Slam finals during the last 2 seasons. In the heart of the Venice Film Festival, a groundbreaking event was unfolded. A stage where artificial intelligence met the art of storytelling in a clash of innovation and tradition. Take a look.
The competition, overseen by Filippo Ruzzante from Reply, pushed the boundaries of what AI technology could achieve in the realm of film. Questions arose. Could machines truly grasp the essence of a compelling story?
We have not seen if those technologies can be used correctly in order to produce, for example, a good story, a good piece of content.
To Dare Me by Giselle Tong emerged victorious, capturing the poignant journey of a young woman as she navigates the complexities of family and self-discovery. Judged by renowned industry film Rob Minkoff, the winning film echoed the theme of synthetic stories, human hearts, blending the cold precision of AI with the warmth of human emotion.
You know, I think that AI will present a tremendous opportunity.
Minkoff's words from Los Angeles resonated. The potential of AI in film industry transcended traditional limitations, paving the way for a revolution in storytelling.
Artists have used different tools throughout history. This is just it is a tool that's being used by an artist to create, to create art.
The AI Film Festival faced challenges, met with resistance from pursuits unready for the tide of change. Yet, as Razant noted, the transformation was inevitable, an unstoppable force reshaping the cinematic landscape.
There are, again, people that will always fight back, as always in any kind of transition, and people will be enthusiastic, but it's like a tsunami. You cannot stop it.
The risk of AI sparked debates, threatened by fears of an artistic identity crisis. However, Minkoff viewed this technology not as a threat, but as a powerful tool for artists to harness and explore uncharted creative territories. Hollywood trembled at the thought of AI altering the very fabric of performance, raising concerns of stolen identities and lost roles to AI metahumans. Yet, as history showed, innovation cannot be suppressed. As the film industry stands at the brink of a new era, the fusion of AI and art promises a story yet to be fully written. In this digital Wild West, where boundaries blur and creativity soars, one thing is certain: the future of film is evolving before our eyes. Sujata Lochit for DD India.
And dogs in costumes hit the runway at Sony Hall in New York City for the Impact Catwalk for Baby fashion show. 21 dogs, along with designers, models and charities, joined the unique fashion show, which is raising funds for the Animal Welfare Organization. Designers dressed dogs in bright, colorful outfits to dazzle up the runway.
Pretty fabulous for a student from FIT. Prevention ensures
right, that's it in this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those of you on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. This app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can download the respective QR codes. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Preeti Kaur signing off, and from all of us at In Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.